Good morning and welcome to the AM News on Global Television. I am Priscilla Obasi. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has met with the new service chief in a closed-door meeting. State House correspondent Prince Adegoke reports that the meeting, which was concluded hours ago at the presidential villa, was attended by the Chief of Defense Staff, Major General C.G. Musa, Chief of Army Staff, Major General T.A. Labaja, Chief of Air Staff, AVM H.B. Abubakar, Chief of Naval Staff, Rear Admiral Emmanuel Ikechukwu Ogala, and Acting Inspector General of Police, DIG Kayode Ebektoku.
Well, we are here to thank Mr. President for the opportunity he gave us to serve our country.
Speaking after the meeting, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, said the president has appointed quality people and they will deliver improved security to Nigerians. He thanked the president for the opportunity to serve the country, noting that Tinubu assured them of his readiness to secure Nigeria.
We thank him very much. We also pledge our loyalty to him and to Nigeria and Nigerians. We believe that the choice he made is the right one, the correct one, and we know what he wants for this country. We are going to work tirelessly to ensure that we accomplish that objective of securing our country, establishing peace, stability, and let's get our lives back. He gave us the assurance that he is with us 100%. He told us that we must work as a team and there is a work to be done.
Recall that Tinubu, shortly before his recent trip to Paris, France, to attend the financial summit, had jolted the nation when he sacked the former service chiefs and announced new ones as replacements. President Tinubu also appointed the former chairman of Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Nuhu Ribadu, as the National Security Advisor, NSA, replacing Babangana Mangono. Uyi Agmofwegbe, reporting for Global TV News.
A former Zamfara governor, Sani Yerima, has asked President Bola Tinubu to dialogue with bandits, just as the late former President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua dialogued with the Niger Delta militants. Yerima stated this while speaking with the State House reporters after paying a congratulatory visit to the president at Aso Rock Presidential Villa in Abuja. Our correspondent Prince Adegoke has the details.
Yerima stated that he firmly believes that Nigerian security agencies, with adequate support, possesses the capability to handle the security situation in the country, adding that they have all the necessary resources to do so. He identified ignorance and poverty as the driving factors behind people resorting to banditry, emphasizing that only illiterates will take up arms and kill innocent people.
I believe that Nigerian government has the capacity, the military, the security, have the capacity to deal with them immediately if so directed. If they are given the resources they require, the support and political will. But the collateral damages that will be associated with the actions that will be taken is what I believe should be avoided.
The former Zamfara governor added that if dialogue with bandit fails, then the government can use force on them wherever they are.
You see, I'm not making a case for bandit. I'm just proposing a solution to banditry in Nigeria. The bandits, a lot of them have been killed, a lot of them have been arrested, and I'm not saying that the government should just continue to just negotiate indefinitely. No, I said invite them. There are people who repent in all religions, Islam, Christianity, Judaism. You find that God himself who created us, once you repent after committing offenses, after committing sin, he forgives you. So there is no way you can say Nigerians should not be forgiven for if they repent. If they repent, they should be rehabilitated and integrated in the society. To most of them, they are recruiting Nigerians. We are talking of Nigerians. If Nigerians don't give them the support, if there is no poverty and ignorance among the Nigerians that are being recruited, this will just end, will not continue.
Yerima's advocacy for dialogue with bandits comes on the heels of an increasing spate of indiscriminate killings and kidnapping for ransom across the country.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on Monday in Abuja began its defense of the February 25th presidential election on a shaky note, with none of its 3 witnesses present at the Presidential Election Petition Court, PEPC. Contrary to the scheduled activities of the court, INEC, which conducted the disputed election and billed to open defense, came to the court presenting no witness. Chidinma Jerisin has more.
Lead counsel and the former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, Abubakar Balarabe Mahmood San, informed the court of his plan to call 3 witnesses to counter the allegations of the Labour Party LP and its presidential candidate, Peter Gregory Obi. He, however, lamented that none of his witnesses was in court due to domestic reasons for him to open the defense. The senior lawyer pleaded with the court to bear with him and applied for adjournment of his defense. However, lead counsel to Peter Obi, Livy Uzoku San, expressed shock and surprise with the conduct of the electoral body. He told the court that INEC lawyer ought to have taken him into confidence before the commencement of the proceedings.
More than a week, we thought that they would have been ready, because on our part we prepared so well that we were ready to embark on a demolition work. But that is their case. They came to court and said that they wanted to, they proposed to have 3 witnesses today. The first one was unavailable due to domestic reasons. We were not told what happened to the other 2. Therefore, they're asking for adjournment to tomorrow. We are ready to come here tomorrow, but I have a hunch that given the contradictions and inconsistencies and what INEC has done, I'm sure that they are not ready to defend this case. I stand to be proved wrong. But I will wish that they defend this matter so that the public will come to see more things, what happened during this election.
However, Wole Olanipekun San, who stood for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and Prince Lateef Olasunkanmi Fagbemi San, who represented the All Progressives Congress (APC), did not object to request for adjournment of INEC's plea for the case to be shifted. Presiding Justice of the Court, Justice Haruna Samani, subsequently fixed the new dates of July 4 for the electoral body.
The National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) says those who forge its discharge or exemption certificates risk jail term, options of fine, and both as penalties. The Director of Legal Services of the Corps, Mr. Ahmed Ibrahim, said these on Monday in Abuja during the 2023 Legal Office.
Over 150 houses in Trademore Estate in Lugbe area of the Federal Capital Territory is about to be demolished due to flooding. At a peaceful protest in Abuja, the residents call on the federal government to put infrastructure in place to end the consistent flooding instead of rendering over thousands of people homeless.
It hasn't taken us this long to cry out. We've always engaged government. And when you engage government, they will say to you they will do certain things. As law-abiding citizens, what we have done was to go back and wait for government to do what they needed to do. But unfortunately, each time they failed us. Now, if you know what is happening in Lagos, even when the present president was governor, they chased away the sea. They samfilled the sea, right? And then their houses built on those lands today, okay? Because they needed more space. In Abuja, what government is saying they want to do right now is to demolish homes and send people on the street. There are about 20,000 people living here.
Residents are pleading with the government to provide an expansion and proper drainage canal so as to have free flow of water during the rain season.
But since they did this road, the flooding started. And if you take note, if you look at the height where the water level is, If you look at the height, you can see the sign on the house. You can see that it's the same height with the road. The problem is the road. As much as the road was good intervention, because it was terrible for the people, since they've made this road, constructed this road, the flooding started.
We only noticed in recent times that the water flow started to overflow its boundary. Upon further personal inquiry within ourselves, we discovered that a lot of people have, they have tampered with the flow of the water, which is before and after Trademore Estates. The water issue is not limited to Trademore Estate. It's a global problem, and it has to be solved as such.
Majority of us have stayed here for 10 years plus. There have never been any flooding issues. These issues of flooding started let me just say 3, 4, 5 years ago with impunity by closing the channels through which the water can pass through and go to the normal channel. And then they block them, build houses, and the only way through which the water can flow is Trademore, because Trademore is at a slope.
Buildings in the Trademore Estate had been marked for demolition. Years after years, warnings have been sent, but the residents in the estate keep risking their lives and those of others. Sandra Akpa reporting for Global TV News.
Enugu State government has dissolved all task forces of commercial tricycles, popularly known as keke, in the state till further notice. The permanent secretary in the State Ministry of Transport, Mr. Wona Idike, said this in Enugu after a meeting with the executives and members of the Commercial Tricycle Union. The meeting was conducted by the ministry on the sidelines of the peaceful protest held by some members of the Tricycle Union on Friday over harassment and extortion by tricycle task force members operating within Enugu metropolis. Idike said that the dissolution affected both legally and illegally constituted task forces for tricycle operators, adding that the dissolution was with immediate effect because the ministry before now was not aware of this negative and inhumane development. He therefore said the state government through the ministry will streamline and sanction all transport union task forces to conform to best practices and standards, as well as ensure that hoodlums and thugs do not hijack such exercise. The Defense Headquarters has given top officers who are senior to the newly appointed service chiefs till Monday to voluntarily retire from service. The other, which was contained in a memo dated 26 June and signed by Major General Y. Yahaya on behalf of the Chief of Defense Staff, was directed to generals, brigadier generals, air vice marshals, and rear admirals in the Nigerian Army, Air Force, and Nigerian Navy, who are senior to the new service chiefs. The retirement of the senior officers across the three services was in line with a long-standing military tradition that officers who were senior to the service chiefs will be retired. Tinubu has announced that the immediate retirement of General Lucky Irabo, who was the Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Awal Gambo, and Air Marshal Oludayo Amao, the Chief of Air Staff, and replaced them with the new military chiefs. However, the DHQ in the memo with reference number DHQ/15/plans/801/13 directed all officers with seniority on commissions above that of Nigerian Defense Academy Regular Course 39 to submit their applications for voluntary retirement from service with immediate effect. The spokesperson for the Nigerian Air Force, Air Comrade Ayodele Famuyiwa, declined comments, saying he is handing over to his successor on Monday. The Army War College, Nigeria, has witnessed a change in leadership as Major General Ishaya Buba Maina assumed the commandant of the college, taking over from Major General Bamidele Ali Alabi, who has been posted to 1 Division Nigerian Army Kaduna as General Officer Commanding GOC. The transition ceremony was held at the college conference room of the institution on 30th June 2023. In his farewell remarks, outgoing Commandant Major General Alabi expressed his heartfelt appreciation to the entire AWCN for their unwavering support during his tenure. He acknowledged their collective effort in elevating the college's standard and emphasized the importance of extending the same support and cooperation to the new commandant. Major General Alabi reflected on the remarkable accomplishment achieved under his leadership and attributed them to dedication and commitment of the college staff. He urged them to continue striving for excellence and to offer their utmost support to the new commandant as he takes on the reins of the AWCN. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has rejected the Core Curriculum Minimum Academic Standards, CCMAS, prepared by the National Universities Commission. The union said it was nightmarish to threat to quality university education and erosion of powers of the University Senate in Nigerian universities. National President of ASU, Emmanuel Osodeke, said it was inexplicable that NUC prepackaged 70% CCMAS content were being imposed on Nigerian university system, adding that university senates who are statutorily responsible for academic program development were left to work on only 30%. Osodeke said that there were growing concerns about the numerous shortcomings and gross inadequacies of the CCMAS documents, and although many universities were dissatisfied, they were shying away from making public comments on CCMAS. You're watching AM News on Global Television, coming to you live on Star Times channels 276 from the Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms at Global TVNG. When News Prime returns, Tinubu meets Shell upstream director Yunovic Yari in a bid to drive investment. We'll be back with these and more stories right after the break. Please don't go away. All right. Thank you for staying with us. President Bola Tinubu has met with Shell Global Upstream Director Zoe Junovic at the Presidential Villa. Also at the meeting was a group of chief executive officers of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari. The meeting is President Tinubu's first engagement after the Saleh festivities and his foreign trips to France on June 20 and London on June 24. Junovic, who assumed office as upstream director on July 1st, has been a member of the Shell Executive Committee since 2021. The meeting was part of ongoing consultations with leaders from the oil and gas sector since the administration came on board. It forms part of the ongoing consultations with leaders from the oil and gas sector since his administration discontinued petroleum subsidy on May 29. The president had previously met with the ExxonMobil executive Liam Malone, Richard Ling, and Adesua Dozie at the House. Ogun State government says it has embarked on 1 billion naira for about 1,500 business owners across 20 local governments of the state as operational grants for micro and small-scale enterprises in the state. The 1 billion naira grant disbursement, which is part of the economic stimulus for Governor Dapo Abiodun in conjunction with the federal government and World Bank, started last week with a screening and assessment of over 1,500 operators of micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises, MSMEs, selected from 20 councils. Speaking in Abeokuta, the state capital, during the enumeration and vetting of the beneficiaries, Dapo Okubadejo, the governor's chief economic advisor, said it was to cushion the negative effects of COVID-19 on MSMEs. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has urged President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to urgently publish details of spending of about 400 billion so far saved as a result of the removal of subsidy on premium motor spirits, popularly known as petrol. He was urged by SERAP to provide details of the plans on how subsequent savings from the removal of petroleum subsidy will be used, including specific projects on which the funds will be spent and the mechanisms that has been put in place to ensure that any such savings are not embezzled, misappropriated, or diverted into private pockets. According to reports, the federal government had saved 400 billion naira in 4 weeks, following the implementation of the policy on the removal of petrol subsidy payment. SERAP Deputy Director Kolawale Oluwadare, in a statement, said the government has a legal responsibility to ensure that savings from the removal of subsidy on petrol are spent solely for the benefits of the 137 million poor Nigerians who are bearing the brunt on the removal, and Nigerians have the right to know how the savings are spent. That's it for the Global TV AM News. We are in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, broadcasting on StarTimes channel 276. You can follow us on all our social media platforms at Global TVNG. Thank you very much for watching. I am Priscilla Obasi.